The NCCAA and Bob Jones University promote good sportsmanship by student-athletes, coaches, and spectators. We request your cooperation by supporting the participants and officials in a positive manner. Profanity, racial or sexist comments, or other intimidating actions directed at officials, student-athletes, coaches, or team representatives are ground for removal from the site of competition and other disciplinary actions. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Conestee Park for today's game. Today's game features the Trinity International University Trojans and your BJU Bruins. And now for the starters for the visiting Trojans. Number 1, right field, Julius Torres. Number 13, Jonathan Kumai. Number 4, Sam. Number 8, Lazarus. Number 29, DH, Ethan Escoba. Number 12, first base, Seth Llewellyn. Number 18, catcher, Jimmy Cisneros. Number 15, third base, Max Ament. Number 14, center field, Brady Popovich. And pitching for the Trojans, number 9, Addison Hickman. And now, make some noise for your starters for the BJU Bruins. Number 15, playing center field, Riley Ramsey. Number 9, playing third base, Conley Burke. Number 14, playing first base, Zach Burke. Number 12, DH, Daniel Barcina. Number 7, playing left field, Cam Lance. Number 26, shortstop, Gabe Swarms. Number 19, catcher, Cody Kirkpatrick. Number 17, playing right field, Kyle Prouse. Number 1, second base, Chad Bain. And pitching for the Bruins, number 3, Daniel Williams. At this time, we ask you to please stand for a word of prayer, followed by our national anthem. Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this great day you've given us to play baseball. We pray that the student athletes will be respectful and show your Christ-likeness in all that they do. In your name, amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Conestee Park, home of the Bob Jones University Bruins. Today's matchup is between Trinity International University Trojans and, of course, your Bob Jones University Bruins. I am Tyler Lopes, your resident PA man, on the mic and on the call for this one. Looking forward to this doubleheader today. Both going to be 7-inning ball games, of course, unless there is some extra inning shenanigans involved. But I'm very excited. It's a beautiful, beautiful day out here. Absolutely perfect weather for baseball. Barely any cloud coverage. Around 60 to 65 degrees, I would say. So absolutely beautiful out here. if you do have a chance to come down and support your Bob Jones University Bruins in person, we certainly would recommend today. It's absolutely gorgeous out here. So, Bruins into this game wayward of their third and fourth, hopefully, respective victories on the Daniel Williams on the mound. Hopefully you guys did hear the starting lineups before this. Trenton did a fantastic job if you did not hear it. So, Daniel Williams, like I said, on the mound today. And I'm very excited to be back. It's been quite a while since I put the headset on. So, excited to be back here and ready to roll for this beautiful Saturday.
First for the Trojans, number 1, Julius Torres.
And with that throw down from Cody Kirkpatrick, this game will get underway. So the senior Julius Torres going to be the leadoff hitter for the Trojans today. And the first pitch is outside and downstairs for ball 1, and we are underway here at Conestee Park. Williams working fast to start, and that's a grounder over to second base. And that one is going to be dropped by Chad Bain. Normally pretty consistent out there, but unable to handle that one. So the leadoff runner on board for the Trojans. And in steps the shortstop, Jonathan Kamai. And a move over to first. And that one is fired in there for a called strike 1. And that one's well outside, so Torres had a great jump on that one. Wonder if he knew what pitch was coming, and obviously that one got away from Williams a little bit there. Not really much Kirkpatrick can do on that one, so about the easiest stolen base that Torres is going to have. And that one also gets away from Kirkpatrick, and so Torres is going to move up to third. And just like that, pretty early on, the Bruins are in some trouble here in the first. And the 2-1 delivery is outside. Good hitters count here for Kamai, and it's 3-1. Williams sets. He fires the 3-1 pitch, and that's a fastball ripped into center field, and that's going to drop for a base hit. Torres will saunter on home, and just like that, the Trojans are up 1-0 here early on in this one. Still with nobody out. Not the start that you're looking for if you're Daniel Williams, certainly.
Alfonso Gomez.
It's going to bring up the number 3 hitter, Alfonso Gomez. And when the meat of the lineup's coming up and you're already down in the ball game, it certainly doesn't make you feel very safe as a pitcher. That one's fired in there on the inside corner for strike 1. Good pitch from Williams. Always important to get ahead in the count, especially when you're struggling early on. And a move over to first. And Kamai gets back safely. 1 on and nobody out here in the first. Bruins down 1-0 early on, and the 0-1 pitch is in the dirt. Kirkpatrick stops it. But a good read by Kamai, and he swipes second. And so the Trojans very active on the base paths early on in this one. And that one is swung on and fouled straight back. Count's going to be 1-2. And the 1-2 to Gomez is swung on and popped high in the air into very shallow left field. Shortstop coming out there, and I believe that did fall. And not sure if that's going to be ruled a hit or an error. That was kind of hit out into no man's land, but either way, Gomez is aboard. Runners on the corners here with nobody out.
Blake Lazarus.
Brings up the cleanup hitter, Blake Lazarus, and he's got to be happy with the position that his team's put him in here in the first inning. Now, as the cleanup power guy, you always want to have guys on base, less than 2 outs, and obviously 2 guys on and nobody out for Lazarus here in the first. Williams certainly going to be looking to induce a ground ball here, try and get 2 outs for the price of 1, and that first pitch is in there for a called strike 1. I do apologize for those of you guys hearing the wind. It is a bit windy here. Certainly my microphone's picking it up, so I apologize if you guys can hear that. That one's upstairs. Count is 1-1. And that one gets away from Kirkpatrick, but the runner at third will hold. But Gomez will scamper over to second base. As I said, the Trojans very active early on the base path. As Williams is seemingly having a tough time controlling his secondary pitches. His curveball's been yanked pretty hard to the left. And typically when you see that out of a pitcher, that means the front side is leaking out a little bit early, causing that arm to kind of drag behind, which means either you're going to catch up with the arm itself and yank it to the left, or it's going to be up and in. And so far it has been pretty much nothing but low and out, and that one also gets away from Kirkpatrick. He's being tested early on, and that's going to score another run for the Trojans. 2-0 here early on with the cleanup guy and a 3-1 count and a runner on third. Certainly not the way the Bruins envisioned starting this game. And that one's grounded to shortstop. Fires on to first, and a good play there. Runner coming home, and he is out! Great play by the Bruins. As I said, Williams is looking to get a ground ball and induce a double play. Certainly not the way I envisioned it when I said it the first time, but they will certainly take it. And the Bruins situation certainly looks a heck of a lot better than it did just a couple of seconds ago. And the first pitch is outside for ball 1. Ethan Escroba batting for the Trojans. In unfortunate situation from what I'm sure he thought he was going to have when he stepped into the on-deck circle. And he finds himself in a 1-1 count here with 2 outs and nobody on. Certainly, again, when you have runners on second and third and nobody out, and the guy in front of you batting, you certainly don't expect there to be 2 outs when you get up there. And that is a slow roller. Nice play by Conley Burke, who lost his hat and everything. But the Bruins get out of a bit of a jam. They do give up 2, but it certainly could have been a lot worse. But they'll have their first chance to strike back here as we head to the bottom of the first.
Leading off for the BJU Bruins, number 5, Riley Ramsey.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back here at Conestee Park. Riley Ramsey, the center fielder, leading off for the Bruins, trailing 2-0 here in the bottom of the first. And the first pitch to Ramsey is turned on and smoked down the line. That's going to be well foul. Certainly a good sign from Ramsey, being aggressive early. That's what we certainly like to see. Especially when you're down, you want to be aggressive. You want to try and put up at least a run here after down, and that one is on the outside corner for strike 2. And the 0-2 delivery is a curveball, swung on, and I do believe he missed it, so that will be strike 3, but the throw on to first will complete the strikeout. So Ramsey goes down for the first out of the inning.
Batting up for the Bruins, number 9, Conestee Park.
Good start to the game for Hickman so far. And that's going to bring up Conley Burke. Burke's first pitch, or first pitch to Burke, I should say, is downstairs and inside for ball 1. And that one is swung on and hit out towards fairly straight away right field. Right fielder drifting back, and he will make the catch for out number 2. So quick work so far for Hickman.
Number 14, Zach Burke.
This is one of the easiest plays Torres is probably going to make all day out there in right field. Pretty straight away, just drifting back a couple of steps to make the catch, and here comes Zach Burke. Zach Burke was, I would say, probably the most consistent hitter last year for the Bruins. Certainly looking to continue that trend this year. Right now, he is second on the team in batting average to only Riley Ramsey at almost 300. So certainly not a bad start to the year whatsoever, but I'm sure Zach would like to improve upon that here in this at-bat, as that one's tapped foul down the third base line. Zach Burke at first base today, as Daniel Barcina, who at the very least last year was the primary catcher for the Bruins. So it's possible we'll see him behind the plate in game number 2 today, but he is DHing in here in just a few moments.
For any foul balls hit into the stands today, return them to the concession stand for a sucker. Return the foul balls to concession stand for a sucker. Leading off for the Trojans, number 12, Seth Llewellyn.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back here live from Conestee Park as Seth Llewellyn will lead things off for the Trojans against Daniel Williams. Looking to bounce back after a tough first inning, and I'm not going to lie, I can't really see where that ball went. That went up the middle for a base hit, and Llewellyn going to try for second, and no one's there. And so on a ground ball, Llewellyn able to hustle his way into a double, or at least into 2 bases. going to bring up the catcher, Jimmy Cisneros, for the Trojans. And once again, the Trojans threatening early in this inning. And that one swung on and missed by Cisneros. Took a big hack at that. Just didn't connect. Count is 0-1. Llewellyn taking a reasonably sized lead off second. And the pitch is downstairs for ball, or I should say more well-located than his prior curveball, so that's certainly a good sign. Certainly seems to be staying a lot more closed in his delivery. Got that timing down a little bit better as that one swung on and missed. The count is 1-2. Williams looking for his first strikeout of the ball game. See if he gets it here, the 1-2, and he will not. That one's outside, and again, that's another one where you see that front side kind of leak out a little bit. And that certainly could be due to a lot of different things. That's kind of just a base overall diagnosis from a former pitcher over here. Could be his lower half. Could just be not keeping that arm closed. And that one is tapped out into left field. That's going to drop for a base hit. As Llewellyn will hold at third. And once again, for the second straight inning, the Trojans have runners on the corners.
Batting for the Trojans, number 15, Max Ament.
Max Ament will step up to the plate here. Runners on the corners and nobody out. As Williams looking to just limit the damage here. Got a lot of help from his defense in the first inning. Outside of the error from Chad Bain in the first. And that one is up and in, but still swung on and missed anyway. And you get the feeling that Ament probably just went up there and was ready to swing no matter what pitch came at him. And listen, that might seem a little bit odd, but it happens as Ament squares to bunt with a runner on third, and he pulls back. And so you wonder if Trojans are trying to pull some trickery here with runners on the corners. We'll see if Ament squares around to bunt again. We'll see how the Trojans play it here. My guess is it's probably just a bluff. And that one is kind of slapped foul. And the count is 0-2. Once again, Williams looking for his first strikeout of the afternoon. And he's not going to get it there as that one's tapped foul down the third base line. And even though it is now in a fair ball, it was touched foul, so don't worry about that. And certainly it is tough for a pitcher to get into a groove when you have runners on base, as often as Williams has had in these first two innings. And that one's in there for a called strike three, and Ament does not like that. Good job by Kirkpatrick kind of pulling that one back in.
Brady Popovich.
It's Brady Popovich stepping up to the plate. My guess is no relation to Greg Popovich, but you never know. Apparently that joke was used last game. I apologize for reusing jokes. I was not aware. And that one is hit out towards shallow right field, but that's going to get into foul territory, and no one's going to be able to track that down.
He was the starting pitcher last night.
Oh, he was the starting pitcher last night. There you go. That makes a lot of sense. Williams sets, looks in, and fires. And that went pretty sharply towards Storms, and he is not able to get that one. And unfortunately, that's going to cost the Bruins. As another error there will bring in another run for the Trojans. As the score sits at 3-0, and runners still on the corners.
Number 1, Julius Torres.
Julius Torres stepping up to the plate here. So we're back around with just one out here. And the runner goes, and a hit and run, and Burke trying to stab at it, and that will not do it. As another run will score for the Trojans on a nice hit and run play there, although I will say I have very few times seen a hit and run hit to that side. But it worked out for the Trojans as Burke was not able to get a hold of that one as he kind of just olayed it. But on a ball hit that hard, you can hardly blame him over in the hot corner. I played third base in college myself. I know how difficult that could be. So, Jonathan Kamai stepping up here. Runners on first and second, and still just one out for the Trojans. They have scored 2 runs in each of the first 2 innings as Kamai pulls his bat back, and that throw gets away, and that's going to be another run for the Trojans. And the Trojans certainly off in 1 1/3 innings certainly might spark that thought as that one misses. Williams is looking to get anything going here for the Bruins. And that one misses outside, so 4-pitch walk to Kamai. So runners once again on the corners for Alfonso Gomez. And again, Williams probably going to be looking to induce a ground ball. I obviously don't know much about Gomez as a player, but typically our 3, 4, 5 batters are not the most spry in terms of speed, but he actually squares to bunt, and well played by the Bruins as Chad Bain kind of actually barehanded that, and I don't know. I'm not sure how much I would have loved that if he wasn't able to corral it, but he was, and that's all that matters. So that will be the second out of the inning, but the Trojans do score. So 4 runs already scored in this inning as the Trojans are in complete control so far. And that pitch is in there for a called strike to Blake Lazarus. Williams looking to stop the bleeding here with 2 out, and that one gets away from Kirkpatrick, and the runner will move up 90 feet to third base. And Williams has to be frustrated at this point. His secondary pitches have just not helped him in any way, shape, or form so far today, as they've gotten away from the catcher more often than not. And I will say at a certain point as a pitcher, if your pitchers keep doing the same exact thing, you got to make some kind of adjustment. Change your eye level, change your arm speed, do something to get those pitches to move a little differently, even change your grip if you have to. And as my partner over here thankfully pointed out, there is now action in the Bruins bullpen. Obviously can't tell as that one's going to be hit into left field for a base hit. So the Trojans score another run as they will go up 7-0. So as I was saying, it's hard to tell who exactly is up in the bullpen. It's going to bring up a Skroba. And looks like a very, very quick session for throwing as the runner is going. And he will pretty easily make that. So that's another stolen base for the Trojans. And I don't blame him at all. They are keeping their foot on the gas early on in this one, not letting up one bit. And again, it's very early, so I don't blame him at all. And that one's in the dirt. Good stop there by Kirkpatrick. And you can see, even from up here, the frustration starting to mount for Williams, and I don't blame him. It has just not been a good game so far, and that one misses. And the other thing you have to think about is, you know, as you stay out there for a long time, he had a long first inning, And then the Bruins, as that one's in there for a called strike, went 1, 2, 3 in the bottom half, and then you're right back out there, and you're having an even longer, even more difficult second inning. That's going to mean your velo is going to start to go down because obviously you've been out there for a long time as that one's hit hard but corralled by Bain, and that is the third out of the inning. So another tough inning for the Bruins as 5 runs come around to score in the second. We'll head to the bottom half of the inning. Let's see if the Bruins can respond.
Chick-fil-A of Taylor's is a proud partner of your BJU Bruins. Chick-fil-A of Taylor's is located just a few miles from BJU on Wade Hampton. Check them out today after the games. Leading off for the Bruins, number 12, Daniel Barcina.
All right, folks, we're back at Conestee Park as Daniel Barcina leads things off for the Bruins as that one swung on. Hit out towards right field. That one's carrying, and it is gone. Daniel Barcina jumping on the first pitch, and he gets the Bruins on the board. Still have a long way to go, but certainly a good start as the Bruins now trail 7-1. And Daniel Barcina, I've just been told, hit a home run last night as well. So certainly has swinging a hot bat.
Batting now for the Bruins, number 7, Cam Lance.
It's going to bring up Cam Lance, the left fielder for the Bruins. That one's in there for a called strike to Lance. Lance looking to keep a little bit of momentum going that Barcina just gave the Bruins as that one is ripped out toward the gap. Left fielder charging in, and he dives, and he makes a nice catch. That was a fantastic play by, I believe, Blake Lazarus out there and left. So not only is he the cleanup hitter for the Trojans, he's certainly able to flash the leather there. Tough break for the Bruins on a hard hit ball by Lance. As that ball coming at 85 miles an hour or faster at your face, that you're not just going to sit there and take it. You're not just going to turn your helmet and then do it like, you know, if you're going to get hit in the back, you just turn. No, you're sprinting out of there like Usain Bolt. You're just trying to get away from it as fast as you can. And that one just misses. So Gabe Swarms will take his base without getting hit.
Cody Kirkpatrick.
It was certainly good to see there. And it's going to bring up Cody Kirkpatrick. Had a tough day behind the plate so far. But we'll see if he can get things and continue to get things rolling for the Bruins with the bat here. And that one is downstairs for ball 1.
What's the word for it? Tubing. I was tubing in a lake. Yeah. Had a big one in the air, came down on my park head.
And that one hit up the middle. That's going to be off the glove. A pitcher, and he hustles, but out! Oh, no, I do not agree with that one at all, but he held out.
No way.
And certainly, I'll say it looked like Kirkpatrick beat him out. And it looks like the coach is gonna say his piece. And the umpire's being called over here by Coach Kirkpatrick.
That was a bad call.
That was.
Number 17, Kyle Prouse.
Definitely a worse call, the end of the Super Bowl. Absolutely. My apologies for having to dip off there for a second, but the count is going to be 1-1 here. It's going to be Kyle Prouse up to bat here. Again, my apologies for having to step off for a second. And that one is in the dirt. And Swarm's not going to advance on that one. Good job corralling that.
Bain.
You really hate to harp on it, but bases loaded with 1 out sounds a whole lot better than runners on first and second with 2 outs. But that's going to bring up the number 9 hole hitter, the second baseman, Chad Bain. And that's going to prompt a visit from the opposing pitching coach. I assume just to kind of calm him down, give him some reassurance, and try and stop the bleeding. And a fist bump there will end the meeting. And like I said, I wouldn't assume that meeting was anything negative, just to kind of go out there, ask if the pitcher's all right, maybe give him an adjustment or two, calm him down a little bit, give him some reassurance, and get back in the dugout. I've had plenty of meetings like that where you're struggling a little bit in an inning, and even if you're performing well overall, just kind of say, hey, man, settle down, relax, everything's good, you got a lead. Let's just throw strikes, man. Let's just get it under control, as that one's fouled straight back. You got the 9-hole hitter coming up. I'm sure you just want to attack him and get out of the inning and get yourself some rest, some Gatorade, and get back out there. Give your hot offense a chance to keep going. And the 0-1 pitch is in there for strike 2. Certainly seems that Hickman is heeding the advice of his pitching coach. And obviously I'm speculating everything that happened. He could have just gone out there and said a bunch of gibberish, but my guess is probably not, as that one's laced into left field for a base hit. And Castile will hold the runner at third, and we'll have bases loaded and 2 outs.
Riley Ramsey.
Bases loaded and 2 outs for Riley Ramsey, the leadoff batter, and we've seen Riley Ramsey last year come through pretty clutch in a lot of these situations. We'll see if he can do it again. He hit a grand slam last night, so, well, let's see. How many times can lightning strike? We'll find out today. And that one's a big swing and a miss by Ramsey, as that one's in for strike 1. Obviously a huge moment for the Bruins as they try to claw their way back in this game. Certainly still plenty of time, but when a scoring opportunity presents itself, you want to take advantage when you're down. That one's outside for ball 1. 1-1 count here. That one is laced down the left field line, but that's going to be foul, as Ramsey knew that was coming, just could not get that front foot down late enough. Couldn't hold himself back enough. Count's going to be 1-2, and obviously good pitchers count here. I'm sure Ramsey will see whatever Hickman's best stuff he's got today. That's what Ramsey's going to see at this point. And that one upstairs. Trying to get Ramsey to chase. Ramsey did not oblige, so that's going to be 2-2. Count, 2 outs. Bases loaded here in the second. Bruins down by 6. 2-2. Is swung on and missed, and a big strikeout for Hickman as Ramsey not able to replicate the Grand Slam magic from last night. But the Bruins do get 1 on the home run by Daniel Barcina, so we have a 6-run ball game on our hands as we head to the top of the third.
Number 11, Danny Palmer, is now playing first base for the Bruins. Number 14, Zach Burke, has been moved to catcher for the Bruins.
All right, folks, we're back here live here at Conestee Park. As the Bruins
Number 12, Seth Llewellyn,
try to claw back in this one as Seth Llewellyn steps up for the Trojans as that one's outside. Daniel Williams still out there for the Bruins. And a couple of changes here as Danny Palmer has come into the game to play first base as that one's in there for a called strike as Zach Burke now behind the dish. So it looks like Cody Kirkpatrick has been subbed out of this one. And that one gets away from Williams. And that runs inside, and that hits Llewellyn, and so he'll take his base. So Jimmy Cisneros stepping up to the plate here for the Trojans as once again, the third straight inning, the leadoff batter in the inning is on base, and Burke tried his best to get out there and get in. You can see Burke telling his pitcher, come on. It's another wild pitch there for Williams, and as I said, that his secondary pitches have just not been there for him today. He's not been able to throw them consistently for strikes. And when that happens, it's tough to beat a team with just a fastball. Especially at this level. And that one is going to get away from Burke. And that one not on Williams. It's going to be a pass ball most likely. Count sits at 2-0 here to Cisneros. And a good hitter's count here. Let's see if Williams attacks with the fastball. He does, but that's going to be upstairs. 4-3, and as of right now, no action in the Bruins bullpen. So this is Williams' jam to get out of at this moment, unless obviously there's going to be somebody coming in from the field to pitch or something like that, and that's going to be upstairs for ball 4. So a wild pitch, a pass ball, and 2 balls high. That's going to be a 4-pitch walk. So Max Ament steps up to the plate. And it looks like somebody's putting on some catcher's gear over there in the dugout, so it's possible we're going to be seeing some action happen here momentarily in the Bruins bullpen, but for right now, Ament squares around to bunt, and he gets it down, but that's going to be foul. That one misses outside and downstairs for ball one. And so right now, again, Williams, for the third straight inning, battling quite a jam here. Nobody out, runners on the corners as the Trojans have kept attacking, and Ament squares to bunt, and he gets it down again. But unfortunately, just not a great pitch as when you've got back. Otherwise, you're going to leave your runner at third out to dry. That wasn't necessarily suicide, but it was definitely a squeeze play. So the difference, those of you at home, a regular squeeze play is on the third base is just hanging out. Oh, and they might get him, and they do! As Cisneros caught cheating over a little bit, and he pays for it as that wipes out the runner on first, although certainly Bruins not out of the woods yet. As the 1-2 pitch from Williams is downstairs for ball two. So anyways, a regular squeeze play, which is what that play was when the runner on third is not running towards home plate as the ball is being contacted. A suicide squeeze is basically an all-out blitz where the runner is sprinting to home, and no matter what happens, if the bunt gets down, if it doesn't get down, whatever, that runner is going to try to go home. That's why they call it a suicide squeeze, because if the batter does not make contact with the ball, that runner is completely left out to dry. And so that is the difference there. Full count here as Williams fires and just misses for ball four. Back-to-back walks for Williams, and the runners
14, Brady Popovich.
Runners on the corners once again. And once again, even despite my earlier thoughts, nobody in the bullpen as of yet. Brady Popovich for ball one. And that one is in there for a called strike. So the count is 1-1. Williams looking to once again induce a ground ball, try and get a double play. Get out of this inning. No damage done as of yet. We'll see if Williams can keep it that way, as that one is swung on and missed, and a good pitch. Good location just off the edge of the plate. Close enough that Popovich was ready to swing at it. And the 1-2. And that's well inside, and you have to think that Popovich probably wishes he'd have taken that off of the hip. Especially when you're behind in the count and you got runners on and top of the lineup's coming up. But we'll see if he can make them pay regardless. Here on this 2-2 pitch. Just outside, and you can see Williams wanted it, and I don't blame him. He's had a tough time so far. And he has yet... Actually, that's not true. I do believe he has one strikeout so far. Looking for number 2 there, but instead he gets a full count to Popovich, and that one's well outside. You can tell Williams kind of just tried a little too hard on that one, tried to force it to where he wanted it, and instead he yanked it as the leadoff hitter, Julian Torres, going to step up here. And base is loaded and just one out. Once again, no damage done yet, so Williams still has a shot at getting out of this. But he's really got to lock down right here if he's going to have a shot. And it starts right here. And that's not going to happen as that one is ripped out to center field for a base hit. 1 run will score. Run from second being waved around. The throw to the plate will not be nearly in time. as the Trojans strike for 2 more. That makes it a 9-1 ball game.
Number 13, Jonathan Kumai.
Jonathan Kamai back up to the dish here, and once again you have to wonder when the time is going to be for Williams to have a seat, and that time is not yet. Runners on the corners, 1 out. We'll see if the runner goes, and he does. And the throw down to second is in time. He didn't even slide. So you have to wonder what was going on there with Torres. Maybe he just thought that Burke didn't have that kind of arm, or the ball got away from him. You have to wonder what happened there. But nonetheless, he's thrown out trying to steal second, so a big break for the Bruins is now a fly ball instead of getting home a run will, obviously, if caught, be out number 3. And that one's inside, and that will be called strike 1. 1-1 count here with 2 outs. Daniel Williams looking to get out of this with just the 2 runs. Obviously, Kamai looking to continue slowly bleeding out the Bruins. And that one's hit out towards shallow center, and the second baseman, Bain, will step back a couple steps and make the catch. So Williams does get out of it with just the 2 runs, but, as I said, 2 more runs scored for the Trojans. The third in a 9-1 ball game.
Registration Bruins Sport Camps is open this summer. Train with Bruins players and learn from our coaches the skills to help you improve your game. Information is available at bjubruins.com/camps. Leading off for the Bruins, number 9, Conley Burke.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back as Conley Burke steps up to the plate here. And that one looks like it misses for ball 1. So 2 more runs came across in the top half of the third for the Trojans. They scored a number in every inning so far. 9-1 is your score. If you're just joining us, thank you so much for joining the broadcast today. I am Tyler Lopes. Very proud to be able to call this game for you, and Trenton, my partner over here, will be calling the second game for you guys. So even though we technically don't see any comments or anything, just be as nice to him as I'm sure you're being nice to me. I hope. Hope you're being nice. Anyway, 2-1 count to Burke. That one is popped high in the air, right in the sun where I'm looking, and that's going to be in fair territory. And the first baseman, who is Seth Llewellyn, will make the catch for out number 1. And that's going to bring up the...
Number 14, Zach Burke.
It's going to bring up the catcher, Zach Burke. Started the game at first base, moved to catcher. Cody Fitzpatrick seemed to be subbed out for reasons that I don't know. I don't know if he's hurt or if it was just the plan all along. I'm not sure, but either way, Kirkpatrick is out of the game as of now, and so that one's in there for a called strike. And Hickman had a bit of a tough time last inning, looking to bounce back here, and that one just misses. And that one's in there for a called strike 2. So the count's 1-2 to Zach Burke. Just so you guys are aware, this upcoming Tuesday, March 14th, the Bruins will be playing at Ford Field. So there will not be... Oh, goodness! As Zach Burke gets hit right in the head. He appears to be okay. The umpire checking on him and calling over the trainer to check and make sure Zach is not showing any signs of a concussion. Never what you want to see, a guy getting hit in the head. Obviously not intentional in any way. But certainly other brain injuries, you can never be too careful. Trust me, as somebody who's gone through them myself, you can never be too careful when you get blows to the head like that. And actually it looks like Zach Burke's going to be taken out of this ball game. So whether it's precautionary or whether they see some signs of actual injury, we just hope that Zach will be okay. And chances are, I don't know exactly what Bob Jones' concussion protocol is, if there even is one, but from what I've seen with other athletic issues like this, chances are Zach Burke might not just be done for the game, he'll probably be done for the day. Probably will not see him in the second game unless obviously he shows vast signs of improvement, or if this is just precautionary for now, I'm not sure. If we do get any word on that, I will pass that off.
And batting for the Bruins, number 12, Daniel Barcina.
Daniel Barcina stepping up to the plate. And so anyways, if we do get any word on Zach Burke's condition, I will let you know. Obviously that stuff doesn't always get to us, but hopefully somebody will let us know at some point. That one's outside for ball 1. Not sure if the Burke family is here or not. But if you are watching at home, if there is anything that I can provide, I will provide that for you. And the runner's moving, and they're just going to let him go. As I believe that is Isaiah Brandt out there taking the place of Zach Burke. And so a nice jump and a good stolen base from Brandt, as the Bruins now, with one out, have a runner in scoring position. For Daniel Barcina, he hit a home run last night, hit a home run already this year. But he has struggled to open up the season. But, again, as I said, he's hit a home run last night. He hit a home run today, so perhaps he's finally breaking out of that slump, as that one is ripped into left field for a base hit. As Brandt will hold at third, and again, Daniel Barcina looking like he's found his stroke. Cam Lance will step up to the plate here, with runners on the corners and just one out. And that one's in there for a called strike 1, as Cam Lance will look to keep this thing rolling for the Bruins, as they certainly have a lot of work to do to get back in this one, so every scoring opportunity is a golden ticket. And not, as I guess that was a swing and a miss, so Barcina will take second base. My apologies. It's kind of hard to tell that when you're wearing headphones. Usually if it's a foul ball, you hear it, but I can't hear anything other than me, which is highly unfortunate because I don't know about you guys, but I don't like me with the way I sound. So, anyways, that one is swung on and hit out towards straightaway right, and the right fielder is actually going to take a few steps back and make the catch. Tagging from third is Brandt, and so the runner will score, and we have a 9-2 ball game here. So once again, the Bruins chipping away at that lead. And I'm sure Swarms would love to get a base hit and get that runner home from third in Barcina. Let's see if he can do it. And that's in there for a strike. Good curveball to start things off from Hickman. And that one is popped high in the air, and I do believe that's going to get up into the seats about 5 rows up as the count moves to 0-2 on Swarms. Swarms, but certainly it worked out as the Bruins, even on a strikeout,
11, Danny Palmer
will stay alive in this inning, and they will continue to chip away at this lead as it's now back to a 6-run ball game. So the Trojans score 2 runs in the top half. The Bruins respond with a couple of their own as Danny Palmer will step up as he playing first base as Zach Burke moved to catcher and Cody Kirkpatrick was subbed out. Now, obviously, Zach Burke will probably be out of this ball game and possibly even the next one after getting hit in the head with a pitch earlier in this half inning. Certainly not what you want to see. And that one's in there for a called strike. And certainly a good opportunity for Palmer. Obviously, you never want to enter a game. Obviously, don't know if Kirkpatrick was subbed out because of injury or because of something else, but if it was injury, you never want to be subbed into a game because of that. I've certainly had that happen to me where, you don't play all day and suddenly one of your guys gets hurt really bad and you have to go out there. It's a horrible feeling. And all you want to do is step up for the guy that you have to take the place of and do right by them. As that one is swung on and drilled deep to left field, and wow, that is gone! Danny Palmer steps up off the bench and comes up with a big 2-run home run in the third, and the Bruins have cut the half. Or actually, they've cut even more in half. 9-5 score. And I said, you want to step up, and you want to ride by the guy you're taking play. You do much better than that, folks. Big moment for Danny Palmer.
And batting for the Bruins, number 17, Kyle Prouse.
And obviously I'm not so sure about Palmer's history, but I wouldn't be shocked if that might be his first home run of the year, right, folks? Yes, perfect. Good for Danny Palmer. And oh goodness, almost another hit by pitch there.
That was only his 6th at bat.
Danny Palmer coming up off the bench and having a huge swing to turn the momentum toward the Bruins in this one. And much like I was saying about the Bruins earlier, as there's indeed action up in the Trojan bullpen, you have to wonder how much more time Hickman has in this ballgame. And that one is swung on and fouled straight back. Kyle Prouse stepping up to the plate here, obviously, for the Bruins. Trying to keep this inning going, trying to restart another rally. And that one is a big swing and miss by Prouse. 2 home runs for the Bruins so far in this one, as their offense has certainly their best to track ball game as that is ripped out toward right center field. That's going to get down. And at one close to the outfielders, but Prouse going to try and get to second anyway. What a throw, but he just beats it. Good hustle there from Kyle Prouse and a great throw out there. I couldn't tell if that was...
Number 1, Chad Bain.
I couldn't tell if that was the right fielder Torres or the center fielder Popovich that made that throw, but either way, it was a good one. Right on the money, and you think maybe if it was on the other side of the bag, that might have been an out, but nonetheless, Prouse with a double, and you have to wonder if that is it for Hickman, and it is. The coach asks for the ball, and you hate to see it for Hickman, as he pitched pretty darn well up to this point, and it has just fallen apart for him in this inning. So we're going to have a pitching change here at Conestee Park, and we'll be right back.
Pitching now for the Trojans, number 19, Joseph Placencia.
All right, folks.
Number 1, Chad Bain.
Chad Bain stepping up to the plate for the Bruins against Joseph Placencia, the new pitcher for the Trojans. So he replacing, forgive me, I forget his first name, Addison Hickman. I knew it started with an A, just couldn't remember. Addison Hickman coming out of this ball game after 2 2/3, 5 runs, gave up 2 home runs. We'll see if Placencia can get the Trojans out of this inning as the 9-hole hitter Chad Bain stepping up. And that one in there for a called strike 1. Count is 1-1 now. And that one is swung on and missed. So Bain down 1-2. Here's Placencia to get out of the jam and start fresh next inning. And certainly the Bruins can score all the runs on the mound. Then certainly it's not going to matter all that much as that one's upstairs. That looked like curveball possibly that he just didn't get on top of. Maybe a changeup that got away from him. Couldn't exactly tell from this angle. But either way, definitely not a fastball, and it got away from him. Count is 2-2. And that one's grounded slowly over to shortstop. And he'll throw on to first to get the speedy Bain. Nice play over there. And I believe that is Jonathan Kamai over at shortstop for the Trojans. A nice play from him, but a big inning for the Bruins as 4 runs come across the score. As Daniel Palmer with a big 2-run home run in this inning, and we'll be back in a 9-5 ball game. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back here as it looks like Cody Kirkpatrick has re-entered the game at catcher, replacing Zach Burke. So it does seem to be official. Zach Burke is probably going to be out for the rest of this ball game after getting hit in the head last inning, as that one's in there for a called strike. Unless I am mistaken, I do believe that is still Daniel Williams out there on the mound. And that one is swung on and ripped down the right field line. That's going to get down for a base hit, and we'll see if Kamai wants to keep going, and he does not. I'm sorry, that is not Kamai. That is Alfonso Gomez. My apologies.
Batting for the Trojans, number 20, Blake Lazaris.
Blake Lazaris will step up to the plate here. So as I was saying before Zach unfortunately got hit in the head and had to kind of stop what I was saying, next Tuesday, so March 14th, this upcoming Tuesday, the Bruins will be playing at Fluor Field. So home of the Greenville Drive, as that one's inside for ball 1. They're going to be playing Columbia International University at 6 p.m. So March 14th, Fluor Field, 6 p.m. at Columbia, or against Columbia International University, I should say. Tickets are $10 as that one is ripped up the middle for a base hit. So the first 2 runners already aboard for the Trojans, and they are not about to let the Bruins get back in this one.
Ethan Escoba.
At least not on the offensive end, as Ethan Escoba will step up. So, just to recap, Tuesday, March 14th, Fluor Field, Columbia International University, 6 p.m. Tickets are $10, so if you guys are interested in that, please make sure that you are there or square. And that one is swung on and fouled off at the dish. And again, you know, Williams has just had a tough time keeping runners off base so far today. He's thrown more strikes in this inning, but obviously it hasn't helped this thus far. Certainly you like to see that, though, as that one is driven out to center field. Ramsey heading back, and he's going to make the catch. Tagging is Gomez, and both runners actually are going to tag, and a smart play by the Trojans. Both runners able to advance 90 feet. So with just one out here in the I almost said the first, in the fourth, excuse me. Imagine if it was still the first. Whew. In the fourth.
Batting for the Trojans, number 12, Seth Llewellyn.
The Trojans continue to push and prod and threaten at the dish, as that one's actually going to hit Llewellyn. And so now base is loaded with just one out. And you know what? Not the worst thing that could happen as a pitcher, because, I mean, obviously you don't want to hit anybody, but that open base is now erased. You can get a double play, all force outs all across the diamond.
Number 18, Jimmy Cisneros.
So if you are ever going to walk somebody as a pitcher, certainly not the worst time to do it at that moment. You could have a lot worse opportunities to walk somebody. Jimmy Cisneros at the dish for the Trojans. So he's going to look to do some damage for the Trojans, as that one's in there for a called strike. And the 0-1 hit out shallow center. We'll see if runner he is tagging, and he is go. The throw to the plate will be cut off, and it will not be in time. So good play by the Trojans, being aggressive, and they get a run out of it as the score now moves to 10-5. So
batting now for the Trojans, number 15, Max Ament.
Trojans able to take back some momentum from the Bruins, as Max Ament will step back up to the dish. I think this is his third at-bat already. And so far, he has been a 3 true outcome king in this one, a strikeout and a walk. So not putting a ball in play just yet. That one's outside. Nice stop by Kirkpatrick, saving a run there. Count is 1-0. And that one's also outside for ball 2, so good hitters count here for Ament. And that one misses for ball 3, and Williams, at this point, not hiding the frustration that's been mounting all afternoon for him. And I don't blame him. You want to always try and keep emotions in check, but clearly sometimes you just can't. You just can't. I mean, I don't know what else to say. You just can't do it, because things just get difficult and things don't go your way. There's always so much. So, understandable. Count is now 3-1. And you have to think he's going to come after him with a fastball here. Let's see if Ament is aggressive, and he is. But obviously did not connect with that one. So count goes from 3-0 to 3-2, and Williams looking to stop the bleeding, get the Bruins back in the dugout, and I'm sure after everything they've been through, they'd take a one-run inning at this point. And that one is tapped foul. That was pretty close. May have been strike 3 had he left that looking, but also could have been ball 4 as well. Tough to tell from my angle, but when it's that close, you want to foul it off. So good job by Ament there to stay alive for another full count pitch from Williams. Swung on, hit up the middle, off Williams. And man, that had to hurt. Nice play by Burke, but he gets away. Tough play, certainly, and they're going to wave the runner home. And he's going to score easily, and so 2 more runs are going to score for the Trojans on a ground ball. Tough break for Williams. It is what it is, and he's actually, you can see him waving the coach away. He does not want to be taken out of this game. It's pretty plain and obvious. But the score now balloons to 12-5. as we're back to a 7-run ball game. And as I said in the previous half inning, you can score all the runs you want. If you can't put up zeros in the field, it's going to be tough to ever come back in a game, and we're seeing that here. As the Bruins cutting a lead from 8 to 4, getting a lot of momentum, and now the lead right back to 7. There's only so much an offense can do with the percentages of baseball. A good college team will probably have about a 300 batting average, as that one's in there for a strike, maybe even a little bit less as a team. And so if you're only going to get on base 35, maybe 40% of the time, it's tough to ask to continue to put up runs like that. As that one's popped high in the air, it's going to stay fair, as Danny Palmer will settle under it and make the catch. But damage has been done as 3 runs come across the score for the Trojans. We'll head to the bottom of the the bottom of the 4th. And
leading off for the Bruins is inning number 5, Riley Ramsey.
all right, folks, we're back as Riley Ramsey stepping up to the plate here, as that one is inside for ball 1. That is still Joseph Placencia out there on the mat for the Trojans. And that one gets away from Placencia and really no-sells it. Going right over his head. I remember at one point when I was in high school, we had a guy, we were playing against him, he was pitching. He hadn't pitched very much. He was a young guy. I think he was a freshman, maybe 14, 15 years old. That one's inside for ball 3. He threw reasonably hard, but he just couldn't control anything. And he was having a tough day. And I went up to the plate, and he threw 3 straight balls right behind my head. And the first one I no-sold. The second one I kind of ducked a little bit. And after the third one, I looked at him, I said, listen, buddy, I like my head where it's at. Come on, figure it out. I understand you're having a tough time, but I don't want to die. Obviously, it wasn't intentional or anything. He was just really having a hard time controlling what was coming out. And the 3-1 is fouled off. And that's going to get up into our fans over there. And, hey, you know, as a little kid right there, all she got to do is turn around and get a sucker from the concession stand. Maybe she'll get a pink one. It'll go along with her shirt and her sunglasses. And that one does hit Riley Ramsey. And so he'll take his base.
Batting now for the Bruins, number 9, Connolly Burke.
Doesn't look like that affected Riley too badly. And it's going to bring up Conley Burke. And the first pitch to Burke is outside. And you can see Cody Kirkpatrick is on deck instead of Zach Burke, as I said a couple times in this broadcast, but just in case you were joining us very recently and you did not see it or hear it, Zach Burke, unfortunately in the 3rd inning, got hit in the head with a pitch. And it didn't seem to affect him too badly. He just kind of took it, turned his head a little bit, sat there for a second, and then stood right back up, started to walk to first. But umpires, trainer, coach, kind of all came over, surrounded him, checked him out, and deemed that it was probably not safe for him to continue. And again, we don't know if it was precautionary, whether it was an actual injury, if they saw something that concerned them, if Zach asked to come out of the game, although I don't imagine Zach would be the kind of person to ask to come out of the game. He doesn't strike me as such a player. So we're going to assume that that is not the case. But either way, he was taken out of the game, and most of the time when that stuff happens because of a head injury, you're probably done for the day. So my guess is Zach will probably not be in the starting lineup next game either, but of course you never know. So that is why Cody Kirkpatrick, who actually started the game batting 7th, is now batting 3rd in the lineup because he was subbed out of the game and then subbed back into the game an inning later because of the injury to Burke, as that one's outside. Count is now 3-0 to Conley. And the 3-0 to Burke, and that one's downstairs. Ball gets away from the catcher, but obviously on a walk doesn't necessarily matter all that much. But now the Bruins are threatening here in the bottom of the 4th.
Batting out for the Bruins, number 19, Cody Kirkpatrick.
Just going to bring up, like I said, Cody Kirkpatrick. And you have to wonder if there's something going on with the baseballs here. We're seeing a lot of baseballs get away from these pitchers today. Up and in, down and out. I have to wonder if something's going on with the baseballs, as that one's in there for a called strike. Count is 1-1. And that one misses. 2-1. Placencia having a bit of a hard time locating here. And as I said, up and in and down and out is what we're seeing a lot of today, which tends to, again, mean that front side's flying open, meaning your arm's either way behind, you're going to throw up and out, or you're having to speed up your arm. And a check swing. And I think they're going to say that he went around. Or maybe, it did hit the bat. Okay, thank you guys. Like I said, it's hard for me to hear with the headphones on, so I can only call what I see. Appreciate I've got a buffer system over here keeping me from making a complete fool of myself. And that one's outside. Count is 3-2, so full count here comes there, but fortunately,
12, Daniel Barcina.
Fortunately for the Bruins, Daniel Barcina is stepping up to the plate, and he has been probably the hottest bat in the lineup today. Home run last night, a couple of hits so far today, including another home run. So we'll see if that hot streak continues, and if you want one guy up to the dish right now, it's him. Up and out. Ball 1. And again, I'm trying to kind of diagnose what's been going on with both Williams and the two pitchers for the Trojans, where a lot of balls are up and in and down and out today on both sides. And yeah, you could see as that one is tapped, and that's actually going to get by. And somehow that little squibbed hit is going to get by as Barcina's going to head to second. And you know what, fellas? Sometimes when you're hot, you're hot. You don't have to get a hold of it in order for you to get on base. Sometimes things just go your way, and that's one of those scenarios there. And the Bruins do get a run out of that as well. Goodness, I don't know what language. Third and just one out. And that was a big play by Barcina moving from first to second, because that now takes the conventional double play out of it. Obviously, there's always room for shenanigans in baseball, but the conventional double play is now out the window, as that one's in there for a called strike. Nice pitch by Placencia. Started off with a curveball. You can really go anywhere from there. You can continue to attack with your secondary pitches. You can switch back to the fastball. Always great to start out an at-bat with a called strike from an off-speed pitch, as that one misses by a lot. And again, another one that's up and in. We're seeing that a lot today. And definitely with Placencia, you could see that glove just kind of punches straight out, and that obviously leads to some leaking sometimes, and that one hops up. Terrible hop as Conestee Park helps out the Bruins there. And a lucky bounce for the Bruins, as that looked like a pretty straightforward play. And obviously that ball kicked up. Kicked up and hit Jonathan Kamai right in that right shoulder. And obviously as a shortstop, nothing much you can do about that. They do teach you to kind of step up and go through the ball to try and prevent hops like that. But Kamai stepped up almost all the way to second base. So he did that. And so obviously not really much you could do about that. Clearly just a tough hop there. I don't know about you guys, but as a scorer, I'd probably rule that a base hit. I don't know about you guys. Either way, that's going to bring up Gabe Swarms, who, as another shortstop, I'm sure he can understand the tough hops that Kamai had to deal with. And another chance for Kamai, and that time he handles the tough hop, and he fires over to first. But the Bruins do score another run, and so they get a couple of those runs back. In fact, all three of the runs back from last inning. And again,
number 11, Danny Palmer.
As I've said before, you got to put up some zeros if you're the Bruins. You see your offense is ready and able to make a comeback if you just give them a chance. So they need to get some zeros. But either way, Danny Palmer stepping up to the plate here. He hit a huge 2-run home run in his last at-bat and has a chance to do so again in this one. We'll see if he can repeat that swing. Swung it more like Arnold Palmer in his last at-bat. Huge swing. Big 2-run home run. Let's see if he can do it again. And that one misses. And a good hitter's count for Palmer. You know he's going to want to be aggressive here, especially after hitting a home run in his last at-bat. And that one misses. And certainly Palmer sure does not want to take a walk here, but Bruins, you can take what you'll get. And Palmer up 3-0 in this at-bat here. Let's see if Placencia goes after him. And he does with the fastball in there for a called strike one. Back to a hitter's count for Palmer. See if Placencia attacks him with another fastball or if he tries to stay away from Palmer with a base open. Certainly would not fault either option. Let's see which one he chooses. And it looks like he tried to get the fastball in there, but just a bit inside. So Palmer will take his base. That's going to bring up Kyle Prouse, and it looks like that is going to be it for Placencia, who's given up 3 innings in just 3 innings in just 1 inning of work. Yep, 3 runs in just 1 inning of work. A little rusty, guys. It's been a while. My apologies. Anyway, it's a pitching change for the Trojans, and we'll be right.
Pitching now for the Trojans, number 11, Riley Murphy. And batting for the Bruins, number 17, Kyle Prouse.
All right, Kyle Prouse at the dish and Riley Murphy on the mound for the Trojans. Let's see what happens here in this 12-8 ball game. That one's in there for a called strike. So the Bruins making a couple of comeback bids in the last 2 innings. Twice now cutting the lead from 7 and 8 to 4. And the Bruins looking to do some more damage here. And that one is hit out towards fairly deep left field, but I don't think that's going to have quite enough leg, as Prouse will fly out to fairly deep left field to end the inning. But the Bruins do strike for 3 more runs in this inning, and so they have once again cut the lead to 4. We'll see if the pitching and defense can respond for the Bruins and get a 0 as we head to the top of the 5th.
Leading off for Trojans, number 1, Julius Torres.
Scrambling to get my headset on there as this inning started a little bit quicker than I anticipated. But nice play there from the Bruins. As for the first time today, the leadoff hitter for the Trojans is retired.
Number 13, Jonathan Kumai.
And unbelievably, at least in my mind, Daniel Williams is still out there for the Bruins. And surely, if they could get him through this inning without anything being unscathed, I'm sure the Bruins would be thrilled. And again, a 0 would be enormous for the Bruins as they're running out of chances to keep coming back in this one. And that one is drilled out to left field fairly deep, back at the wall, and it is gone. Jonathan Kamai with a home run. And that actually might be his second home run of the ball game. I know they had a home run earlier in the game. But either way, big home run for Kamai, and so the 0 will not happen in this inning as the number 2 hitter for the Trojans makes sure of it. On a 3-1 count, was ready for a fastball. He got it, and he didn't miss it. And this lead now goes to 13-8.
Alfonso Gomez.
So Alfonso Gomez will step up to the plate and look to repeat his teammate's success. And a curveball in there for a called strike. One of the best curveballs I've seen Williams throw today. And that one swung on and missed. My goodness. Big swing there. And unfortunately, Gomez did not connect. Well, I say unfortunately for him, obviously not for the Bruins. But the 0-2 is inside and downstairs for ball 1. And obviously, I know Williams would probably just take the 1 run at this point. And that one misses. Count is 2-2. And the 2-2. And that is just outside. And Williams not happy. He really wanted that one, and I don't blame him because I know that there's been a couple strike calls out there today. Just not that time. And the full count pitch is swung on and fouled off by Gomez. Looked like he caught his own foot there. Nobody on for the Trojans, but one run has scored on the home run by Jonathan Kamai. And that one misses. So from 0-2 to a walk, and Williams is not happy. And I think he knows that his time is running out on the mound if he continues to let guys on.
20,
and in fact, that will probably be it. And they're pointing to the bullpen, and Coach Castile, that's going to be it for Williams. Not the best day on the mound for Williams today, but he fought hard, and he stayed out there as long as he could to try and give his guys as many innings and as many pitches as he could get them. And he will depart in line for the loss as of right now. The Bruins offense certainly has something to say about that. We'll see if the Bruins defense can hold the Trojans where they're at when we come back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back here as Jerry Parker takes over on the mound for the Bruins, and that one's in there for a called strike one. As Parker will look to get the Bruins back in the dugout. Even though a run has scored already, it would be a huge boost for the Bruins to get back into the dugout without giving up a crooked number on the scoreboard. That has not happened yet today, as the Trojans have scored multiple runs in every inning so far, except for this one. So the Bruins are looking to buck that trend, and it's going to be up to Jerry Parker to do it. But before we get to that, looks like we have our first ones are wild situation of the season. So enjoy it, because it only lasts one pitch. And that one is swung on and I believe fouled off to the right. Couldn't exactly see, but count now moves to 1-2. As the wind is kicking my butt here and moving all my stuff around. And that one is swung on and hit out towards right field. And that's going to be a tough play, but a nice play out there as the runner will tag. And a smart play by Gomez to tag on that one, but a great play out there by Kyle Prouse moving towards the line. And now with 2 outs, there is a runner in scoring position, but this is the
29, Ethan Estroba.
This is arguably the best opportunity the Bruins have had to get out of an inning without really too much damage, obviously the home run aside. And that one is outside for ball one. And the 1-0. And that's going to be checked, swung at, and it's kind of tapped foul. So the count now is 1-1. And that one is swung on and missed. So the count now moves to 1-2. And that one gets away from the catcher, Kirkpatrick. And that wild pitch may cost the Bruins, as now a base hit is guaranteed to score a run. But certainly haven't gotten to that point yet, as we now sit at 2-2. And that one's upstairs. Count moves to 3-2. Jerry Parker got to come up with his best pitch here to try and get out of this jam. Runner on third, 2 outs. Bruins trying to get back in the dugout and get themselves back into this ballgame. And hit towards first base. And Danny Palmer settles under it and he makes the catch. And Jerry Parker does a great job getting out of it, as the Bruins only give up 1. Obviously, while that's not ideal, I'll say they'll certainly take it. So, Bruins will head to the bottom of the 5th, down 5. It's 13-8.
Cambria Hotel of Greenville is the official hotel of your BJU Bruins. Located just off Woodruff Road, Cambria is a brand new hotel offering great amenities and a beautiful facility. Book your next stay online at choicehotels.com. Leading off for the Bruins, number 1, Chad Bain.
All right, folks, we're back here live from Conestee Park as the Bruins look to come back in this one. Chad Bain looking to get things started for the Bruins at the dish. Bruins trailing 13-8 as the Bruins have slowly tried to claw their way back. And a good pick over there at first base as Bain grounds out to open up this one. As I've said before, you can only ask an offense to do so much. But the pitchers,
number 5, Riley Ramsey.
Williams and, of course, Jerry Parker, who came in relief last inning, now giving the Bruins offense a chance to further cut into this lead. Let's see if they're able to take advantage. And a good person to start with is Riley Ramsey, the leadoff hitter for the Bruins. With 1 out here in the 5th, as that one swung on and missed for strike 1. This is the first game of our doubleheader today. Second game will start most likely around 20 to 30 minutes after the conclusion of this one, whenever that would be. Time listed is about 3:30. And right now it's about 2:30, so barring any kind of shenanigans, that seems to be a possibility. Not sure it will start exactly at 3:30, but certainly not a bad goal to aim for. My guess is it'll probably be around 3:45 or 4 o'clock before that game starts. But either way, 0-2 count here to Riley Ramsey as he looks to try and get something going here in the 5th. And that one's downstairs and in the dirt for ball 1. Ramsey hit a grand slam last night, obviously not having the opportunity to do so in this at-bat. But he did have an opportunity early on with the bases loaded. Unfortunately, did go down swinging to end that at-bat, as that one's outside and downstairs for ball 2. And that one swung on and just barely ticked at the plate by Ramsey to stay alive. Solid crowd here at Conestee Park, and as I said early on, a beautiful day for baseball. Cloud coverage has kind of shown up a lot more in the last couple of innings than when it started, but nonetheless, as that one is upstairs, and yeah, I was about to say, I didn't think that was ball 4. But you know what? Sometimes I don't know how to count to 4, so I wouldn't have been surprised. But seems to be that I was correct in that assumption. But either way, cloud coverage has kind of shown up here. But either way, still about 60 degrees. Beautiful day out here at Conestee Park. So if you guys have not had a chance to come out here, support your Bruins on a beautiful day, you know what? You still have time. That second game is going to start in about an hour. I don't know how far away any of you guys are. I know there's people that watch from all around the country and even all around the world. And we appreciate all of you as that one's outside. And downstairs for ball 4 as Ramsey takes his base. But we do appreciate everybody. But just in case, just in case there's any of you that are in the Greenville area that's, you know what, thinking, hey, you know what, it's a Saturday. I'm already listening to the game. Don't really have anything to do. Come on out here and support your Bruins. It's free. Come on in. Have some fun. Go to our concession stand, get yourself a hot dog, get yourself some soda, relax. It's a beautiful day out here. Nothing better. Nothing better than this. And that one is upstairs. And inside to Conley Burke. 1 out and 1 on here in the 5th. As Burke will look to try and get something going as Ramsey is aboard. Ramsey is aboard, apparently. I don't know what that means. And that one misses for ball 2. Good hitters count for Burke. And a move over to first as Ramsey gets back. I didn't like the way that slide looked. I'm not sure he should slide like that all the time. You really could mess up your elbow doing that. But obviously sometimes you can't control when that stuff happens. That one's in there for a called strike. Don't blame Conley for taking that one. Not necessarily the best hitter's pitch, so just a good pitch there on a 2-0 count. And the 2-1 as Ramsey takes off and Burke fouls that off. Not sure if there was a hit and run play going or if that was just Burke being aggressive or if he saw that Ramsey maybe didn't get the jump he wanted and so he was protecting his runner. Either way, Ramsey will head back to first and it's a 2-2 count with 1 out here in the 5th. You know, Burke to shoot a gap right here, move over to first, and Ramsey again does that slide, and I don't know I don't know if I like it. You're really going to mess up your elbows if you keep sliding when you're moving like that. That's... Oh, I used to slide like that, and that's how I know. You really can mess up your elbows that way. And, oh, gosh, another Burke gets hit in the head. That time it was just a curveball, so hopefully Conley is okay. He seems to be fine. Umpire just seems to be checking on him and making sure. The trainer not nearly as quickly coming out to check on Burke. And Burke is smiling and laughing, so we're hoping that he's okay. You could tell he doesn't want to be checked out by the trainer. But that's okay. We understand. We're all competitors. But listen, brain injuries and concussions, it's all very serious stuff. So even just precautionary, Got to check, make sure you're all here, make sure he knows where he is, what day it is, what his name is, everything. Going to check his eyes, make sure his eyes are moving. And again, none of this stuff is intentional. We've seen a lot of balls get away from pitchers today on both sides. And it just is unfortunate that twice a pitch has gotten away and hit a Bruin in the head. And unfortunately, it's both the Burks. It's going to be a hefty medical bill. And Conley will stay in. So that's a good sign, as he seems to be okay. Maybe a little bit of bragging rights against his brother. I don't know how that household works, but either way, Conley looks to be okay. That's all that matters.
Number 19, Cody Kirkpatrick.
And I'm sure Cody Kirkpatrick is probably sitting there going, please, don't sub me and put me in the second hitter now. I don't want to move around anymore. But either way, he'll be up to bat here with runners on first and second and one out, as that ball is in the dirt for ball one. And obviously, as I was saying before, that wasn't intentional. That's a curveball. You know, sometimes secondary pitches get away from you, and if you're going to hit somebody in the head, you're definitely not going to do it with a curveball. That's just not how that works. And for those non-baseball people, you know, you might not understand what I mean by that. And so there are unfortunately times in baseball where, not necessarily that it's appropriate, but where it is maybe expected. Or there is a possibility where, as a pitcher, you're going to take some liberties and you're going to throw at somebody, whether it's because they or their teammate bragged about a home run that they hit or something like that. You know, whatever the case is, I've seen it happen way too many times. As that one gets away, and the runners will advance 90 feet. So the Bruins once again looking to strike here in the fifth, and I know these runs score. That would be a huge boost for the Bruins, especially with Daniel Barcina on deck. But either way, so, you know, I've seen it a million times. I'm trying to remember if I ever took part in something like that when I was a pitcher, because I know that there were times where I was told to hit somebody, but I always said no because I never believed in that. I always believed that if you want to get revenge on somebody, you get them out. You don't put them on base. And you certainly don't try to hurt them. So for me, that's just not the way I would do things. But I've seen it done a million times, as that one's flown out towards shallow left. Hard to believe that the runner is going to try and score on that. And he will not. And so that will be the second out of the inning. But
Now batting for the Bruins, though.
Daniel Barcina will step up to the plate here, and certainly, again, a guy that you want to see in this moment right here, as the Bruins desperately need these runs as they are running out of chances. Daniel Barcina trying to get these runs home for the Bruins. He already has one home run today. I'm sure the Bruins would love to see another one, as that one's grounded foul, and a nice play by the
Leading off for the Trojans, number 12, Seth Llewellyn.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back as Jerry Parker's first for ball one. So the Bruins, unfortunately, coming up empty in the bottom of the fifth. Still some time to come back in this one. But that's not going to be a good start to that, as that's going to split the outfielders. And Riley Ramsey's throw into second may have had a chance had it not been cut off, but unfortunately for the Bruins, the leadoff hitter, Seth Llewellyn, will start things off for the Trojans with a double. And Jimmy Cisneros, the catcher, will come up to the dish, try and get some more insurance runs for the Trojans, and certainly at this point, any more runs for the Bruins is going to have to be a huge punch to the gut with their comeback chances. 5 runs in 2 innings is hard enough. Any more, things are just going to start to continue to get more and more impossible, as it sounded like may have actually hit Kirkpatrick coming off that foul ball, and it still had the same trajectory and spin as if he had just fouled it off. So I have to admit, I don't think I've seen that quite happen before. That's pretty interesting, the physics behind that. But either way, 0-1 count to Cisneros, and the pitch from Parker on and ripped into left field. Lynn had to wait. That was going to go through. Hold at third. And there's corners, as has been pretty much the day for the Trojans. As Max Amends will step up. It's pretty much been the norm for the Trojans. Have runners on the corners with nobody out in an inning. I believe that's happened a good 4 or 5 times already. And this is the 5th time out of 6 possible innings that they have had the leadoff runner on. So they have certainly been aggressive early and often, as that one is hit. And oh goodness, Cisneros way too far off the bag, and the Bruins get a huge break. I'll tell you what, while the Trojans have been aggressive on the base paths today, it has come back to haunt them a few times. Getting caught stealing, a couple of double plays, getting thrown out at home plate. It's just been an interesting day for the Trojans base runners, but they are up ahead by 5 here in the 6th, so you can't really blame them too much. But either way, that's going to be a huge double play for the Bruins as they look to try and, for the first time today, keep the Trojans scoreless in an inning. We'll see if they can do it. Jerry Parker has pitched well so far. We'll see if he can finish the job here. And that one misses. And the count's going to be 2-0. And Brady Popovich at the dish. And that's also in the dirt. So Parker not quite having enough oomph on those pitches to get it to home plate. 3 in a row here. And certainly you do not want to walk the 9-hole guy on 4 pitches. You don't want to walk the 9-hole guy at all, quite frankly, but you certainly don't want to do it on 4 pitches. You are just asking for disaster, but that's unfortunately exactly what happens. And that's going to bring the top of the lineup back up, and that is about the last thing you want to see. Bruins had a goalie there, the 9-hole hitter, to get out of the inning, and now you're going to have to go through the heart of the lineup again. But obviously the Bruins still have a chance to get out of this. Not saying they don't. Just certainly you'd rather face the 9 guy than the 1. Although I will say it seems a lot more common now that teams will put the 9-hole batter as an actual pretty solid base runner and a pretty solid on-base guy that easily could be a 2, a 3, or even a 6-hole guy pretty easily if they wanted to, but instead they put him at 9. I know that we did that in high school quite a bit. Our 9-hole hitter was the fastest guy on our team, and while he didn't have the best bat in the world, he walked a lot. And so as soon as our leadoff guy would get up to the plate, he'd have a guy in scoring position ready to roll. So certainly not uncommon, but runners on second and third with 2 outs. Huge, huge, huge chance for the Bruins. Try and get something going, and Kirkpatrick is doing a fantastic job of keeping that ball in front of him. That's 5 or 6 in the last handful of pitches that he's had to corral, and he's gotten them all. So great job by Kirkpatrick. But for Parker, you've got to try and get going here and try and get the ball consistently in the strike zone, because walks at some point are not going to help. And that's outside for ball 2. Certainly with a base open, a walk at this point wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but the number 2 hitter has homered today already. And that one misses, and Kirkpatrick cannot corral that one. And that is going to be a run for the Trojans. And so that 0 that the Bruins so desperately needed is not going to be in this inning, as the Trojans score again. 6 innings in a row they have scored. They've scored, obviously that means in every inning in this ball game, as this offense has been relentless today. And oftentimes in games, and that one misses for ball 4, so
Now batting
Torres will take a walk.
Kumai.
That's going to bring up Jonathan Kumai, who's already homered in this one. And obviously a home run here would really cripple the Bruins in their comeback chances. And certainly the Bruins had bases loaded at one point in this one, and second and third at one point in this one, and could not come through. And those really would be sweet right now if they were able to have come through with those situations. But unfortunately, it's not how baseball works. Parker sets in a 1-0 count. Takes a peek at the runners and fires, and the runner, Torres, takes off, and he's safe. And that means that the run will score. And so another crooked number for the Trojans as 2 more runs come across in this inning, and it's 15-8. And a big gamble on the base pass. And as I've said, the Trojans have been very aggressive on the base paths. And sometimes it's come back to bite them, but sometimes, like right there, it has really helped them put more runs on the board. As if Torres gets thrown out, obviously nothing happens. That's at the end of the inning, but because he was safe, that run was able to score. And good job by Mai to kind of fend that one off. Still down 0-2. So Parker's done a good job kind of corralling his pitches after struggling a little bit early on in this inning. Can Parker stop the bleeding here on an 0-2 count? Not that time, as that one's up and in. Count sits at 1-2. And that one is hit out towards center field, and that's going to drop for a base hit, and Torres was on the move. So that's going to be an RBI single, and he scores easily. And the Trojans get another one, as it is 16-8. So the Trojans have doubled up the Bruins in this one. And you have to think how much more the Bruins offense is going to have left in the tank after already putting up 8 runs trying to make this comeback. And the pitching and the defense just has not helped them out much today. And that one misses outside for ball 1. So Gomez stepping up to the plate here. Apologies, I think we're having some technical difficulties here. And the pitch from Parker is just outside for ball 2. And the 2-0 inside. Count moves to 3-0 as Parker trying to stop the bleeding here. Runner in scoring position for the Trojans as they look to continue. And looks like they are. Looks like there's a little fan on the field over there. They're trying to get them to clear the field. And they do. And that pitch is outside for ball 1. So Blake Lazaris up to the dish for the Trojans. Jerry Parker doing everything he can to try and stop the bleeding for the Bruins. And a big swing and a big miss by Lazaris. And count is 1-1. And that one misses outside for ball 2. As I've said, it's been a clinic offensively for the Trojans. It's one thing to have one really bad inning where a team gives up or a team scores 8 or 9 or 10 or whatever runs on you, and then they coast for the rest of the game. That has not been the case today. The Trojans have put up crooked numbers in just about every inning. They have been relentless, and no matter what happens on the defensive side of the ball, they have put together fantastic at-bats all afternoon. And that one's outside as Parker now has, I believe, walked 2 in a row. And the pitching coach going to come on out and have a chat with Parker. And again, as of right now, no action in the bullpen for the Bruins, so I'm sure they'd love to get him to finish out this inning at the very least.
Everything's happening.
But we'll see what the Bruins have in store here. All right, seems like we have our technical difficulties fixed here. I apologize. The last few minutes have probably been a little bit quieter than usual, but we're trying to work things out as that one's driven out to center field. Riley Ramsey heading back. He'll saunter underneath it and get to the track and make the catch for out number 3. So Parker able to get out of it, but unfortunately the damage is done as 3 more runs come across for the Trojans as we head to the bottom of the 6th inning. Bruins trail 16-8.
Now batting for the Bruins, number 26, Gabe Swarms.
Think when that happened to Jack Buck, he complained? No. He soldiered on. That's why he's in the Hall of Fame.
Getting chastised by my coworkers over here. Anyways, the count is 1-0. And that one's in there for a call strike one. As Gabe Swarms at the dish. There's one out here in the bottom of the 6th. Bruins obviously running out of chances here, down by 8. Need to get something going in this inning. And that one is fouled off. Gathered by the catcher, but obviously in foul territory. And that one swung on and fouled off over toward the Bruins dugout. Thankfully, it missed the dugout players and the fans right above. Hit off that black rail. Bounced back into the field to play, so count remains at 2-2. And that one is chopped over to third. And a nice play over there at third base. That would be Max Ament making the nice play there. And that's second out of the inning, and that's going to bring up Danny Palmer. Palmer hit a 2-run home run early on in the game.
Danny Palmer.
And that's tasked with keeping the Bruins' chances alive here, trying to get something going with 2 outs here in the 6th. But obviously the Trojans have something to say about that. And the first pitch to Palmer is outside for ball 1. And the 1-0. Inside for ball 2. For those of you just joining us, we are still in the first game of our doubleheader today. Bruins trailing 16-8. And that one swung on and missed. Big 2-0 swing from Palmer there, and he didn't connect. Count is 2-1 now, but anyways, first game of the doubleheader. Second game will start roughly about 20 to 30 minutes, I would say, after the conclusion of this one. And that one is outside for ball 3. And that one swung on and missed by Palmer. And the count now moves full. So 2 big swings on hitters' counts from Palmer, and unfortunately 0 contact for those swings. We'll see what he can do in this full count. The 3-2 swung on and fouled off. And that one is ripped down the third base line. Coach Castile telling him, hey, man, stop hitting it at me. Hit it the other way, man. I feel that. I remember I was on third base. I was a base runner, and my friend hit a screaming line drive right at me, and I had to jump into a split in midair to dodge it. I still have no idea how I pulled it off because I'm the least athletic human being on the planet. But it worked out. As Palmer, also his at-bat works out as he draws a walk. That's going to bring up Kyle Prouse, the right fielder for the Bruins today. Hit a deep left field fly ball with a couple of runners on base in his last at-bat, but unfortunately it sat just before the warning track, so just missed it. And what would have been a huge opportunity for the Bruins as that one misses upstairs for ball one. And that one's in there for a called strike. Count moves to 1-1. And that one is swung on and fouled off. Count's going to move to 1-2.
I was in the opera last year. I super number 14, and I put like a good 30 hours a week. I kid you not, in the last month.
My wife was one of the Philistine boards that night.
Really?
Yeah. I actually told her.
I was a young Hebrew guy that got seduced by a priestess.
And the 2-1. Swung on, or 2-2, I should say. Swung on and missed. And that's going to end the inning for the Bruins. And unfortunately, they come up empty. So we'll head to the top of the 7th. Bruins trailing 16-8.
Leading off for the Trojans, number 12, Seth Llewellyn.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back as Seth Llewellyn will step up to the plate for the Trojans. Jerry Parker still on the mound for the Bruins, looking to finish off the top of the 7th. And the Bruins trailing by 8. First pitch swung on and hit over to Palmer. Got a nice hop there, right up to his glove. So that's going to take care of the first out of the inning. And again, that is not the most common thing in the world this game. I believe it's only the second time that the leadoff hitter has been retired for the Trojans. It's going to bring up Jimmy Cisnero, the catcher. And that one is swung on and driven out towards center. And that's going to be caught by Riley Ramsey. 2 pitches, 2 outs for the Bruins. And that's certainly what you like to see from Parker. Use the Trojan aggression against them. That's going to bring up Max Ament. And that one just misses outside for ball 1.
You're welcome.
And that one is chopped slowly over towards shortstop, and Palmer not able to pick that one, so the runner will be brought aboard as Ament will get on base. Gabe Swarms trying to make a play on it. Was hoping that Palmer would be able to pick him up on the low throw, and unfortunately just was not the case. So that's most last at bat, however. And so far it's trending towards that direction again. And once again, for the 9-hole hitter, you got to go after him. You got to just figure out a way to make them beat you, as the chances that they're going to beat you as the number 9 hitter are much less than you're going to beat them. It does happen, but you got to make them prove it. You got to make them earn it. And that is not happening right now. And as Popovich is just able to stand there and look pretty. And you just do not want to face the top of the lineup again if you are the Bruins. Because 8 runs is bad enough to have to come back down from. But unfortunately, that's the case. Is for the second straight at bat, Popovich walks on 4 pitches. And that's going to bring up Torres.
Now batting number 1, Julius Torres.
And that one's in there for a called strike. Good bounce back from Palmer. 2 on, 2 out. 0-1 count here to the leadoff hitter, Julius Torres. As the Trojans look to keep the streak of consecutive innings where they're scoring a run alive. As right now it's at 2. And that one in there for a called strike. Torres thought about swinging to that one, decided against it, but it's called strike anyway. So the count is now 2-2, so 2s are wild here, 2 on, 2 out. And a 2-2 count, let's see what happens. And just misses. Good pitch there from Palmer, but Torres not fooled. So that will run the count to 3-2. And that one is swung on and hit out toward fairly shallow left field. As Cannons will come on and make the catch for the Bruins. So the Bruins able to hold the Trojans scoreless, but too little too late. We'll find out as the Bruins trail 16-8 and to the bottom of the 7th.
Leading off for Bruins, number 1, Chad Bain.
All right, folks, we're back here at Conestee Park as the count moves to 2-0 on the 9-hole hitter Chad Bain. Bruins down to their last chance here in the bottom of the 7th, down 8. Certainly a tall task to come back, but we have seen the Bruins come back from deficits before. Obviously, this is a pretty large one, but we'll see what the Bruins have left in the tank. And the 2-1. Swung on and missed.
It's still there. He was under strike. No, the stress.
I really hope not.
Jad Bain looking to get something started. And the 2-2. Swung on and flared out towards second. Might be a tough play. Oh, nice barehanded play at second base. Alfonso Gomez, great play. Definitely, I think if he had used his glove there, probably would not have been able to make that play in time for the speedy Bain, but he was. Great play. That's going to bring up Riley Ramsey. And that one's in there for a called strike. Count moves to 1-1 on Riley Ramsey. 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th. Bruins trying to rally. Down 8. Obviously their last chance here. Swung on and chopped over to third. Nice play over there. And a good throw over to first base by Max Ament, and that's going to be... And that one's inside, nearly hits Burke, and obviously he's already been hit in the head once today. I don't think he wants to get hit anymore, I understand. Even if it is just a curveball. You just, you get hit once and you're just like, you know what, I don't want to play anymore. I'm good. I don't need this. As I apologize, but the wind is picking up here at Conestee Park. I'm sure you guys can hear it in the microphone. And that one's outside for ball 2. Make sure to stick around. This is, again, just the first half of the doubleheader today. So we are looking forward to the second game. As my partner Trenton over here will be calling the second game for you guys. As that one's in there for a called strike 2. Bruins down their last strike. And I will be on PA duty. So hopefully you guys stick around for that, as that one is swung on and hit out toward fairly straightaway center. Or excuse me, left. And Blake Lazaris gathers it in. And that will do it for the first game of our doubleheader. Bruins fall in this one 16-8, but we will be right back with game number 2, as I said. So feel free to stick around. Thank you so much. I've been Tyler Lopes. God bless, and go Bruins.